It has been nearly a year since my separation from my former love. At a gala brimming with celebrities, she stood before me, eyes red-rimmed, blocking my path. "Edmund," she pleaded, her voice trembling. "I was wrong. Please, grant me another chance." I offered a wry smile, raising my left hand. "Can you make it whole again?" As a young man of modest means, I had pursued Cordelia for 5 long years. It was only when she severed my little finger, transplanting it onto the hand of her childhood companion, that I realized I was merely a tool in her life. My 5 years of devoted affection, it turned out, were nothing more than a cruel jest. "Mother, come and take me home. I've had a change of heart. I'm ready to join the family business and assist you." On the other end of the line, a controlled voice betrayed a hint of excitement. "Very well. I shall have Barnaby make the arrangements immediately. He'll be there in an hour." A pause followed. "My son, are you certain? Have you truly severed all ties with Cordelia?" I murmured a soft affirmative. A moment of silence passed before a gentle sigh echoed through the phone. "Edmund, I grant you 1 week. Settle your affairs discreetly. Once you return, there must be no further entanglement with Cordelia." The call ended. As I gazed upon the meticulously prepared celebratory dinner, a wave of bitterness washed over me. Mother, it seemed, had always perceived the depth of my affection for Cordelia, my struggle to let go. 6 years of unwavering devotion. To say I could easily relinquish it all was a lie. But did she truly care for me? My gaze instinctively drifted towards the television. Cordelia Sterling, the rising star of the art world, was eloquently discussing her acclaimed masterpiece, Love's Descent Upon My Heart. The painting depicted 2 figures embracing in the twilight, their noses almost touching, the radiant glow of the setting sun bathing their faces, a luminous aura of love enveloping them. Cordelia's eyes softened as she regarded the artwork. "This was painted for the one who holds my heart." A chorus of playful inquiries about Cordelia's beloved arose from the audience. Cordelia merely smiled enigmatically. Although only a side profile was visible, I knew it was Peregrin Fairmont, Cordelia's childhood friend, who had returned just a month prior. The painting had been created on the very day of his return. That day, Cordelia had vanished, and from then on, my calls often went unanswered, my messages ignored. The doors suddenly swung open, and Cordelia returned, clutching her masterpiece of love in one hand, her other hand holding her phone. She was evidently engaged in a joyful conversation, her face alight with happiness. Finally, she looked up, noticing me and the paused television screen. Cordelia's gaze darted away, landing on the now-cold feast on the table. The roses bloomed vibrantly, their sweet fragrance still lingering in the air. "So late, and you're still awake? Didn't I tell you I was celebrating with friends?" My eyes scanned Cordelia, a flicker of hope still refusing to be extinguished. Who is the person in this painting? Just some passers-by. With that, Cordelia carefully carried the painting into the bedroom. Not a single glance spared for me, not a shred of shared joy. From beginning to end, her eyes were fixed on the painting, as if gazing through it at someone else. Nor did she offer a single explanation for her late return and broken promise. Wearily, I closed my eyes, suddenly weary of further inquiries. I rose and headed to the bedroom, a sense of self-mockery rising within me. Just as I lay down, a verification message popped up, Peregrin Fairmont. After a moment's hesitation, I accepted. Without a greeting, a video was sent. In the dimly lit bar, Cordelia leaned against a broad shoulder, her eyes glazed with intoxication, murmuring, "Don't leave, don't leave." It was that familiar side profile again. Suppressing my anger, I sent a question mark. A message arrived in response, celebrating Cordelia's successful art exhibition with her. "Just sharing." I replied, "Thank you for taking care of my girlfriend." Silence followed. I waited a few minutes, then began scrolling through Peregrin's social media feed. I discovered he updated it daily. Controlling my emotions, I scrolled back, reaching the beginning, a month prior. The first day back, reunited with an old friend. The accompanying picture was the scene depicted in the painting. The second day back, 2 hands clasped together, strolling through the park. The caption, "Still holding hands, hoping to grow old together." The third day back, a Western restaurant, 2 pairs of chopsticks placed side by side. The caption, "What a night. Here's to forever." Cordelia had liked and commented on every single post. There were also playful remarks from their mutual friends, to which Cordelia replied with a shy emoji. I recalled when Cordelia and I had first started dating. I wanted to take a photo together and post it on social media. Cordelia impatiently said, "What's a grown man doing posting on social media? Don't be so sentimental." Later, I secretly took a side profile photo of us and specifically posted it on social media to commemorate Valentine's Day. Cordelia was furious, snatched my phone, and deleted it in a second. Since then, I stopped posting on social media, fearing she would find me sentimental. The latest post was from tonight. In the bar, their arms intertwined, drinking a toast. I couldn't see other people's comments, only countless flowers and applause below. I blinked back the moisture in my eyes, despondently putting down the phone. So that was the reason for the unanswered calls and ignored messages. Cordelia, did you ever love me, even a little? 5 whole years, what was I? At the moment you were clinking glasses, did you even remember that your boyfriend was anxiously waiting? Memories flooded back. At the university's welcome party, Cordelia's graceful ethnic dance captivated the hearts of countless young men and women, including myself. Many upperclassmen and wealthy heirs pursued Cordelia. But Cordelia remained aloof, earning the title of Ice Queen. Yet, I persisted, unwavering in my devotion. It wasn't until our sophomore year, when Cordelia was intoxicated. I carried her back to her dormitory and learned about her childhood sweetheart. It was the day her sweetheart and his girlfriend had officially announced their relationship. That night, Cordelia cried inconsolably, utterly inebriated, refusing to return to her dorm. So, I took her to a hotel and stayed by her side all night. The next day, Cordelia, looking refreshed, saw me with dark circles under my eyes. After a moment of contemplation, she said, "Will you always love me?" I was stunned, but I nodded. "Then I'll be your girlfriend." At that moment, fireworks erupted in my heart. An overwhelming joy surged through me. I embraced Cordelia tightly. "Cordelia, I will love you for the rest of my life, until death do us part." After we started dating, she remained distant, constantly busy with teachers and classmates, going on sketching trips. I thought, with time, she would eventually love me wholeheartedly. Now, I finally understood. A first love is something one can long for but never truly possess, an insurmountable chasm for those who come after. My 5 years of devoted affection were nothing but wishful thinking. I suddenly felt weary, my heart filled with desolation. I no longer wanted to ask her who she loved. She no longer loved me. The next morning, I got up as usual and prepared breakfast. Only 7 days remained. I hoped to leave myself with a beautiful memory. "Cordelia, I took the day off. Let's go to the flower exhibition at Cloud Peak Mountain today." A parting like this, the pear blossoms fall and the moon sets in the west. I hoped that years from now, Cordelia would still remember me, this wanderer from a foreign land. Cordelia furrowed her beautiful brows, the corners of her raised mouth drooping. Today is Peregrin's first piano recital. I promised to go and support him. Cordelia began putting on a necklace, slipping into a burgundy evening gown, as if attending a grand ceremony. I sighed, unwilling to give up. "We've never been to a flower exhibition. Will you accompany me just this once?" Cordelia began applying powder. "Maybe another time. Flower exhibitions happen every year, don't they?" Cordelia casually brushed me off. "Yes, indeed. For 5 whole years. Has there ever been a year without one? And which one have we ever seen? Edmund, find my crystal shoes for me." Silently, I retrieved the crystal shoes from under the cabinet. This was the gift I bought her last Valentine's Day, staying up for half a month to earn the money. She had only worn them once, that very day. I asked her why she didn't wear them. She said they weren't practical for painting. I never imagined they would reveal their true value today. Cordelia, with her long, wavy hair, admired her exquisite figure in the dressing mirror, smiling with satisfaction. After a final inspection, she confidently grabbed her bag and headed out. Just as she turned, she saw the breakfast on the table, her gaze finally falling on me. Her voice softened. "I don't have time for breakfast. You eat it yourself." Perhaps sensing my low spirits, Cordelia leaned down and planted a fleeting kiss on my cheek, a cold touch, devoid of any warmth. I opened my mouth to say something, but the door slammed shut. She didn't even have time to hear a word before flying away. I touched my cheek, a bitter smile playing on my lips. So, I was nothing more than a pet dog she kept, to be petted when needed, a pat on the head when she was busy, and I was expected to wag my tail. But today, I didn't want to wag my tail. I sat back down on the sofa, opening Peregrin's social media feed. Suddenly, I noticed an announcement. Young pianist Peregrin Fairmont is holding a recital at the Starlight Concert Hall. After a moment of contemplation, I resolutely got up and headed to the Starlight Concert Hall. There weren't many people in the concert hall, and it had already started when I arrived. Cordelia sat in the front row, gazing intently at the stage. The music was melodious and powerful, yet it felt like grating noise to my ears. The light in Cordelia's eyes, like fine needles, pricked at my heart, one by one. An overwhelming discomfort spread throughout my body, yet I couldn't express it. As soon as the concert ended, Cordelia, holding a bouquet of flowers, was the first to rush onto the stage. Peregrin smiled, accepted the flowers, and put his arm around her shoulder. Hand in hand, they faced the audience and bowed deeply. At this moment, the crowd whistled and applauded. The perfect couple made my eyes well up. I remembered a month ago, at the company celebration, I, as an outstanding sales manager, went on stage to receive an award. The chairman asked me to share my experience. I wanted Cordelia to accompany me on stage, to share my joy of success, but she pulled a long face, unwillingly saying, "It's just an award for excellence. With so many people watching, I'd be embarrassed. I'm not going." Actually, I wanted to tell Cordelia in front of everyone that I worked so hard for her, that I achieved what I did today because of her. I wanted to give her the best life. Initially, my mother raised me frugally. After we confirmed our relationship, she, as an ordinary parent, went to the school to meet Cordelia and firmly opposed my marrying her. She said Cordelia didn't love me at all, even looked down on me. This one-sided love would have no good outcome. That day, during the meal, while peeling shrimp, Cordelia criticized me for not peeling them cleanly and threw them into the trash. After the meal, without even basic courtesy, she went straight back to school. She later explained that she was a clean freak and that she really had an appointment with a classmate to go painting that afternoon. But Mother said, I could marry Cordelia, but only if I concealed my identity and didn't use a penny from the family, achieving success on my own. Using time to prove the authenticity of this love. That day, after the celebration, I wanted to take Cordelia home, to prove that we were truly in love. But that day, Cordelia received a phone call and left without looking back. Because Peregrin had returned. I followed them to the dressing room. I saw Cordelia embracing Peregrin with affection, the two of them locked in a passionate kiss. It was only when I stood before them that they nonchalantly separated. Even though I already understood, the anger in my heart still made me lose my reason. I pushed Peregrin away, punching him in the face. Peregrin staggered backward, his hand landing on the edge of the piano. Cordelia rushed over, holding his face, anxiously asking if he was okay. Nervousness, worry, heartache, anger. I still remembered one night, when I encountered some thugs and returned home bruised and battered. Cordelia, with a look of disgust, placed the disinfectant in front of me and went into the bathroom. Annoyance, disgust, indifference. Percival Edmund, what madness is this? Cordelia shoved me in the chest. I staggered back, looking at Cordelia expressionlessly. Like a mother hen protecting her chicks, her wings spread in anger, her comb erect. The shy blush on her face was gone, replaced by a fierce glare. Peregrin wiped his mouth, a faint smile playing on his lips. Mr. Edmund, is there some misunderstanding? I looked coldly at Peregrin, his refined and handsome appearance, his captivating eyes. Fine, as long as Cordelia was happy. Since there was no love, why force it? As long as she could be happy in the future, I could rest easy. I glanced at Cordelia, then turned and walked towards the door. But Cordelia grabbed my arm. Percival Edmund, you hit someone and just walk away? Apologize to Senior Peregrin immediately. I was taken aback. She wanted me to apologize to the other man. Was the green hat she had placed on my head not deep enough in color? My voice trembled, a flicker of hope still clinging on. Do you truly believe I should apologize to him? Without a moment's hesitation, Cordelia nodded firmly. You must apologize. Peregrin is an artist. His reputation is important, and he has a strong sense of self-respect. He's not like you, accustomed to groveling and begging for business. I don't want this incident to affect him. You don't understand the sensitivity of artists. A single word can destroy their inspiration. My eyes were fixed on Cordelia, so all my efforts, in her eyes, were inherently lowly, incomparable to their lofty ideals. I suddenly felt a disconnect from myself. Was I still that sunny, confident, proud young man? I could no longer recognize Cordelia either. Was she still that bright and beautiful goddess? The little girl who would act spoiled and ask me to carry her, who would playfully refuse to wash the dishes. Could the appearance of a first love truly shatter a person's values? To casually kiss another man in front of her boyfriend, to casually demand her boyfriend apologize. I slowly inhaled, then slapped Cordelia across the face. Get out. Cordelia was instantly stunned, her eyes filled with disbelief. Since we had been together, I had never even spoken a harsh word to her, let alone hit her. No matter what she did, no matter what she said, I cherished it all. Because I loved her. This slap was a blow to my despair. I feared that if I continued to look at Cordelia's round eyes, her angry brows, I would compromise. I would, in order to salvage this humble love, grovel and apologize to Peregrin, even kneel. I feared I would completely lose myself in love, losing my last shred of dignity. Cordelia, seeing my cold and dark expression, burst into tears and ran out. I leaned against the wall, despondently closing my eyes. Love rises with the wind, but when the wind ceases, love is hard to stop. As I stumbled home, lost in thought, my phone suddenly rang. Cordelia's urgent voice immediately came through. Edmund, come quickly. I'm at the provincial hospital. My heart skipped a beat, all sorts of thoughts flashing through my mind. A car accident, blood. I rushed to the emergency room in a panic, finding Cordelia weeping, looking pitiful and distressed. When Cordelia saw me, her eyes instantly lit up. My heart swelled with joy. Cordelia still couldn't do without me. She threw herself into my arms, sobbing uncontrollably. Edmund, Sr. He was chasing after me and got into a car accident. He injured his hand. My heart sank, a wave of guilt and unease rising within me. For an artist, his hand was his life. Although I didn't injure him, if my momentary anger caused him harm, I would never forgive myself. I quickly patted Cordelia, asking about the situation in a soft voice. Cordelia looked up at me, her eyes filled with tears. Edmund, the doctor said Senior's little finger is crushed. It needs to be amputated. Will you transplant your little finger to him? My heart skipped a beat. I shook my head, wanting to make sure I heard correctly. Cordelia, what did you say? I said, will you transplant your little finger to Senior? Please. As if afraid I hadn't understood, Cordelia continued. The doctor said, if it's transplanted immediately, with plenty of rehabilitation training, it will be as flexible as a normal finger. I raised my hand, my gaze turning to Cordelia. And what about me? Cordelia stammered. You just run sales, don't you? Losing a finger won't affect your ability to eat or drink. Cordelia stared at me unflinchingly, my heart growing colder and colder. So, whether I was disabled or not was insignificant, as long as I had food to eat. I suddenly calmed down, slowly removing Cordelia's arms from around me. I said softly, I refuse. Cordelia straightened up, her voice stern. Percival Edmund, I'll say it again. Go and have the transplant immediately, or you'll never see me again. I chuckled. As you wish. I could have died for her once, and I still could. But I would not die for her first love, or lose a single hair. That would be an insult, a violation of a man's principles. Cordelia's face turned grim. After a moment of silence, she gritted her teeth. Percival Edmund, if you don't have the transplant, I will call the police and report you for assault. I was taken aback. Assault when? Suddenly, I understood. It was that slap. Looking at the red mark on her face, I scoffed. Cordelia Sterling, did you truly take me for a pushover, a lovesick fool? My mother is a renowned private entrepreneur in the neighboring city. Just last month, the mayor invited her to discuss a new energy development project. Did she really think that with their flimsy reputations as a painter and a pianist, they could bend the law and have me locked up? I stared coldly at Cordelia, her nose, her eyes, her mouth. Never before had I so desperately wanted to forget everything. Cordelia frantically picked up her phone. Percival Edmund, don't force me. I let my hand fall despondently. Fine. 5 years in exchange for a final awakening. I'll consider it repayment for her companionship these past 5 years, even though she didn't love me much. It at least gave me someone to love during those formative years. I agree. Notify the doctor. Moments later, doctors ushered me into the operating room. Cordelia, watching that desolate figure, suddenly had an illusion. It felt as if he was drifting further and further away, as if she had lost him forever. At that moment, what welled up inside Cordelia was not worry or anxiety, but a strange fear, a sense of panic. In an instant, Cordelia wanted to call out to Percival, but the words caught in her throat. After the surgery, both were sent to observation. Cordelia was busy getting prescriptions and medications from the doctor. When Cordelia returned, Percival Edmund was nowhere to be seen on the hospital bed. His phone was turned off. Cordelia rushed home. She pulled open the wardrobe, the shoe cabinet, all empty. An unprecedented panic swept over Cordelia as she saw the empty room. Cordelia picked up the phone, intending to contact Percival's friends. Only then did she realize she didn't have a single friend's phone number. She didn't even know where he might go. Just like that, Percival Edmund vanished, completely disappearing from Cordelia's life, without leaving a single word. Only a severed little finger remained. 6 months later, the new energy project in City A officially launched. The enigmatic young master of the Winthrop Group was fully in charge of this project. It was said that the young master had been gaining experience abroad, and upon his return, he kept a low profile, wholeheartedly dedicating himself to the company's research and development projects. With the young master's involvement, the new energy project was launched ahead of schedule. On New Year's Day, the city government held a celebration ceremony. Cordelia, accompanied by Peregrin, prepared backstage in advance. The solo piano performance was an entertainment segment, and Cordelia had even gifted several paintings to secure this opportunity for Peregrin to showcase his talent. After all, the attendees today were all distinguished figures from various fields, including many industry leaders. If he could earn their praise, it would be a significant boost to his future career. Time ticked by, and Cordelia's gaze couldn't help but linger on Peregrin's fingers. In her mind, images of a pair of hands kept surfacing, sometimes skillfully peeling fruit for her, sometimes washing her undergarments. A mixture of emotions churned within Cordelia. She had always believed her feelings for Percival were merely habit. It wasn't until the 100th day after his departure, when Cordelia woke up in the morning and habitually called out, "Edmund, bring me my clothes," that she finally understood. She loved Percival Edmund. He had become woven into every fiber of her being. All her feelings for Peregrin were just the unrequited love of her youth, a mere stirring of emotions. Cordelia was in agony. She knew why Percival had left so resolutely. For the first time, Cordelia lowered her head, praying to the heavens for a chance to atone for her sins. Finally, it was Peregrin's turn to perform. Cordelia accompanied him to the stage. As he adjusted the instrument and looked up, Cordelia froze. Sitting on the main platform was Percival Edmund. Dressed in a dark blue suit, he leaned casually, conversing with the deputy mayor. Although his features were now more mature, his demeanor exuding a cool and noble air, Cordelia recognized him instantly. Cordelia's eyes slowly welled up with tears. She stared at Percival without blinking. Percival felt a gaze fixed upon him. He looked up, but then indifferently turned away. Peregrin also arrived on stage and, following the stunned Cordelia's gaze, spotted Percival. That night, the celebration was a success, except for the piano performance, which was somewhat lacking. 2 wrong notes were played. After the revelry and the dispersal of the guests, Cordelia blocked my path. Her eyes were red-rimmed as she looked at me. "Edmund, where have you been? I've been searching everywhere for you." I looked at Cordelia coldly. She had indeed lost weight. It must be that Peregrin was exhausting her. It was none of my concern. "Miss Sterling, may I ask what you need? I am rather pressed for time. If you have any matters to discuss, please make an appointment with my secretary." Cordelia grabbed my arm. "Edmund, I was wrong. Please, give me another chance. Come home with me. I'll listen to you from now on. Let's go to the flower exhibition, shall we?" Flower exhibition? It seemed like something from a long time ago. Now, I had no interest in flowers, let alone visiting a flower exhibition. I smiled wryly, raising my left hand. "A chance? Can you make it whole again? Does it have a chance?" I pushed aside the person blocking my way and strode past. Just as Cordelia was about to pursue me, the bodyguards behind me stepped in to intercept her. From behind, I heard Cordelia's desperate, heart-wrenching cries. Peregrin arrived and pulled her away. I didn't look back once. The next day, Cordelia blocked my path on my way home from work. Cordelia timidly approached, placing a shopping bag in my hand. "Edmund, you just arrived. I bought you some clothes. Try them on to see if they fit. If not, I'll exchange them." I looked at the clothes in my hand, scoffing inwardly. If I remembered correctly, this was the first time Cordelia had ever bought me clothes. In the past, I would have been over the moon with joy. I tossed the shopping bag into the trash can. "Miss Sterling, please refrain from such meaningless gestures in the future. I am very busy and have no time for reminiscing." As I turned to leave, Cordelia cried out sadly. Percival Edmund, I truly know I was wrong. I don't ask for your forgiveness. Just let me do something for you, please. I paused. She had gotten what she wanted. Why the remorse now? People, always looking at the greener grass on the other side, only to realize their mistake when they step onto that other side. It's not necessary. Early the third morning, as I arrived at the company, the security guard ran over, handing me an insulated container. Mr. Edmund, a lady asked me to give this to you. I took it and opened it. It was seafood and preserved egg congee. I smiled derisively. It was the flavor and ingredients I often used to make for Cordelia. But she didn't know that I was allergic to seafood. She assumed that what I made often was what I liked to eat. I only made it because I saw that she liked congee and seafood. But to be able to make it so similar to mine, she had certainly put in some effort. You can have it. With that, I handed the insulated container to the bodyguard and strode into the company. On the fourth day, Cordelia brought me some stomach medicine. A note was attached. Edmund, you have a sensitive stomach. Remember to take some stomach medicine when you're socializing. On the fifth day, Cordelia brought some daily necessities. I never knew Cordelia could be such a thoughtful and attentive woman. It wasn't that she couldn't. It was just a matter of whether she was willing to, and for whom. On the sixth day, that day, I took the initiative to invite Cordelia to dinner at my home. Where it started, it should end. When I arrived home after work, Cordelia, wearing an apron, greeted me with a smile, solicitously bringing me slippers. Edmund, I've washed your slippers. I was worried you wouldn't have any to wear. I changed into the slippers expressionlessly and walked to the dining table. Braised prawns, fried spare ribs, sweet and sour fish. All my favorite dishes. She had certainly taken the trouble to find out during this time. But I had no appetite. Cordelia pulled me to sit down and poured me some red wine. Edmund, this red wine is warmed. I specifically asked, you can have a little. Just as Cordelia put down the wine, her phone rang. I glanced at it. The caller ID showed Peregrin. Cordelia looked at it and directly declined the call. Cordelia opened her mouth to speak, but the phone rang again. Cordelia frowned and hung up again. I smiled. Answer it. It's not a good habit to ignore calls. Cordelia looked at me awkwardly, and the ringtone sounded again. Cordelia gave me an apologetic glance and answered the call. As soon as the call connected, an anxious voice came through. Cordelia, why aren't you replying to my messages? We agreed to have dinner together tonight. Why are you ignoring me? Cordelia said expressionlessly. Senior, I think it's best if we keep our distance from now on. Please don't contact me unless it's necessary. Cordelia, is it because Percival Edmund is back that you regret it? Cordelia took a deep breath and said in a low voice. Senior, it's not about anyone else. It's just that we're not compatible. Immediately, an exasperated voice came through. Cordelia Sterling, is it because Percival Edmund is rich now that you look down on me? Didn't you used to say Percival Edmund was dull and uncouth? I listened to Peregrin's rant with a quiet smile. Cordelia's expression changed instantly, and she quickly hung up. I broke the awkward silence. It's all right. He's speaking the truth. Cordelia stammered. Edmund, I never said that. He's just making things up. She reached out and placed her hand on mine, looking at me with affection. Edmund, I was truly wrong. After you left, I realized that you're the one I love. Oh, are you sure it's not my status? I raised an eyebrow at Cordelia. Cordelia looked at me earnestly. Edmund, if you don't believe me, I can have it notarized. I won't take a penny from you. I'll earn my own money and spend it myself. Can we go back to the way things were? I slowly pulled my hand away, raised my glass high, and let it fall. With a crisp shattering sound, I said calmly, Cordelia Sterling, can you make this glass whole again? Love is even more fragile than this glass. Even with the utmost care, it may not last, let alone throwing it on the ground and stomping on it. Cordelia stared at me fixedly, imploringly. Then let's start over. Let me be the guardian of this glass, please. I shook my head. The reality was truly unpredictable. Who would have thought that the goddess who once treated my love with disdain would now humbly lower her head? Alas, belated affection is nothing more than withered grass in autumn, offering nothing but a bleak yellow expanse and a desolate view. Cordelia Sterling, it's impossible for us to be together again. Please don't disturb me anymore. Let's leave each other with some dignity. With that, I got up and expressionlessly opened the door. Cordelia watched Percival in a panic. In her memory, Percival had never shown such a cold and resolute expression. Each word felt like a knife twisting in her heart, the pain so intense that it stopped her breath. She didn't understand how he could have changed so much. In the past, she had angered him before, even locking him out overnight, yet he would still smile and admit his mistakes. Now that she knew she was wrong, why couldn't he smile just once more? After Percival left, Cordelia sat alone in the darkness for a long time. Thinking about her absurd behavior over the past 6 months, she felt disgusted with herself. The remorse and pain in her heart surged like a tide. Tears welled up silently, falling soundlessly onto the table. The piercing ringtone kept ringing. Cordelia just watched it indifferently, not moving a muscle. The dazzling beauty of youth had captivated someone's eyes, making them reckless and leading them down the wrong path. Nearly 30, a single "I was wrong" could no longer restore the old dream. That day, I was driving to the hotel when suddenly a car blocked my path. Peregrin, his face grim, approached. Reluctantly, I got out of the car. Peregrin looked me up and down, scoffing. Indeed, wealth breeds arrogance. I had no patience for his nonsense. Peregrin, if you have something to say it quickly. I'm in a hurry. Peregrin said disdainfully. Percival Edmund, don't think that just because you have a bit of money, you can cling to Cordelia. Stay away from her. Believe it or not, even if you get Cordelia's body, you'll never get her heart. I looked at Peregrin with amusement. Where did this pompous fool come from, truly thinking he was something special? Body and heart. Did I ever mention her heart? I don't even want the person, let alone her damn heart. Since you're so confident, why are you here? To have me bless your union? All right, I wish you a happy marriage. May it last forever. There's no need to correct someone so self-absorbed. Just let him continue to feel good about himself. Seeing that I wasn't paying attention to him, Peregrin immediately became annoyed. Percival Edmund, what do you mean? You don't believe me, do you? Then I'll prove it to you. Just you wait. Peregrin angrily opened the car door. I watched him with amusement, truly not understanding why he was clinging on. I had already given them my blessing. Wasn't that enough? Suddenly, Peregrin's car, spewing black smoke, charged towards me. I had no time to dodge. I only heard a bang, and a wave of dizziness washed over me. My car flipped over. When I opened my eyes, I saw myself lying in the car, surrounded by people. The traffic police arrived, and the ambulance arrived. Damn it, you bastard Peregrin. Could it be that you were so consumed by love that you wanted to take me down with you? When I was pulled out, I saw that Cordelia had also arrived. She strode up to Peregrin, glaring at him. Cordelia, it was Percival Edmund. He deliberately crashed into me. My heart sank with a sneer. It seemed she cared about Peregrin the most. Suddenly, Cordelia raised her hand and slapped Peregrin across the face. Peregrin's head was knocked to the side. There was blood on the side of his head. Cordelia, her face cold, said in a chilling voice, Peregrin Fairmont, don't think I don't know what you're up to. Stop your petty tricks. Don't disgust me. Peregrin's pitiful expression froze on his face. He stared at Cordelia without blinking, stammering, Cordelia, I'm hurt. Cordelia gave him a cold look, then quickly ran over, anxiously supporting me. Edmund, how are you? Are you hurt anywhere? I shook my head, a little dazed. I waved my hand. I'm fine. I won't die. Peregrin shouted angrily. Cordelia, why do you believe him? Do you regret it? Cordelia turned around, her eyes wide with fury as she glared at Peregrin. Peregrin Fairmont, do you really want me to say it? Peregrin was momentarily stunned by Cordelia's expression. All along, Cordelia had been gentle and sweet towards him. Cordelia chuckled. Peregrin Fairmont, to break up me and Edmund, you resorted to such despicable and underhanded tactics. You clearly only had a fracture. Why did you lie and say it was crushed? Why did you make Edmund lose a finger? My head rang with a loud buzzing sound. I raised my hand, looking at my severed finger in disbelief, then raised my eyes to scan Peregrin's hand. So its sacrifice was just a joke. My gaze turned sharp as I looked at Peregrin. Some people truly waste a good appearance. Their core is nothing but a wolf. The medical staff helped me into the ambulance. I looked back at Peregrin. Peregrin Fairmont, it was time for you to learn a lesson. After I was discharged from the hospital, I immediately hired someone to investigate the incident from that year. It turned out he had colluded with a doctor friend, fabricated false evidence, and coaxed Cordelia into forcing me to amputate my finger. That was a clever move, a decisive blow that completely severed my relationship with Cordelia. I sneered, picked up my phone, made a few calls. What was mine should be returned. Within days, news spread like wildfire. The newly acclaimed pianist Peregrin Fairmont was suspected of colluding with a doctor to fabricate evidence and deceive another person into amputation. Subsequently, It was revealed that Peregrin Fairmont had plagiarized his thesis during his time at school. Suddenly, Peregrin Fairmont's name was nailed to the pillar of shame in the entire music industry. Although there was no concrete evidence, in the age of the internet, the pressure of public opinion could completely destroy a person. Combined with the piano performance at the New Energy celebration, the gossipers were more inclined to believe their own deductions and ideas. The comments section rapidly filled with scathing remarks. Many fans who had spent money to buy concert tickets were instantly furious, demanding refunds. Peregrin Fairmont, as an overseas-educated musician, had completely fallen into the quagmire. Late one night, I had just dropped off a client and returned to my place when a dark figure suddenly jumped out, brandishing a knife and stabbing at me. In a panic, I raised my arm to block, and instantly a piercing pain swept over me. I was kicked to the ground. Seeing the knife coming at me again, a slender figure threw themselves onto me. I heard a thud, a muffled groan, and a soft body slumped onto me. By the dim moonlight, I realized it was Cordelia. Edmund, I'm sorry. I looked up. Peregrin, holding the knife in terror, pointed at us with trembling fingers. Cordelia, I didn't mean to. Then he dropped the knife and fled into the darkness. The police arrived quickly, followed by the ambulance. I held Cordelia tightly and quickly got into the ambulance, grasping her hand firmly. The doctor rushed Cordelia to the emergency room. Because the knife had pierced her heart from the back, the doctor was ultimately powerless to save her. In the moment before her death, Cordelia smiled. Edmund, you finally came to see me. The car accident quickly made headlines. Words like love killing filled the media reports. Peregrin was arrested and awaited the judgment of the law. I buried Cordelia in the cemetery. I visited her every year on the anniversary of her death, and this year was no exception. Looking at the bright smile on the tombstone, I gently placed the flowers in front of her grave. She was still as beautiful as the summer I first met her. She should have had a vast sky before her, but her life was forever fixed at the age of 25. I brushed off the dust and softly told her that I might not be able to visit her in the future. Because I was getting married, I had someone to cherish. The sunset was like blood, the autumn wind was bleak. I hope that in the next life, she will cherish the person in front of her.